Yes, yes, yes. What is up, MCR family? We're back. And like Gary predicted, hey, 2 shows, back-to-back weeks. Don't call it a comeback. That's all I'm saying. Can't call it a comeback for Triple G, though. That's for damn sure. A lot to get to on today's show. Shakur Stevenson missing weight, losing all of his belts. That sucks. That kind of puts us just a sour note on like tomorrow's event. And then we have the Canelo Triple G fight we can obviously review, react to, which we haven't done yet. And plus the pay-per-view numbers that have come out. Plus the global pay-per-view numbers that have come out, which I know Gary has a strong take about, and I cannot wait to get into that. A lot. But I'm joined, as usual, by the one and only Gary in Dallas. Gary, how are you?
It's good to be back. Once a week. Twice a week is ideal. But at my age, you don't really need to do it twice a week, more than twice a week. You don't really have the urge that much. Like, it's not like when you're younger and like every day, 2-3 times a day. Twice a week is good for me. It's ideal, actually. We're talking about podcasting.
Yeah, twice a week. Yeah. If I didn't have like other things I also want to do, if like I only focus on boxing still, I think I could do 2 shows a week. But I have like
twice a week is ideal.
I have like 4 other things that I need to do every week, and it's a lot. It's stressful, guys. But anyways, I think we might go and do a Sunday show, just and a morning show to try to get Rob back on. That'd be
whatever
nice.
we need, whatever needs to be done to get Rob back on, we can do.
That fucking geezer, man. Dude, I wish people saw the group chat. That's all I say. Rob's hilarious there. I wish he was on the show. Team Batman Boxing on there. How you doing?
If we did a morning show, what's up, Team Batman? If we did a morning show, would Rob be down? Would he? Whatever you say, I'm down for Rob. I was like, oh, don't be so sad. Cheer up.
Can he? I think he's still in mourning. Gary.
Oh, the Queen.
Yes, Her Majesty.
Okay, man. Okay.
Anyways, Gary, we have a lot to get into. And obviously some other like stupid topics we get into, like DirecTV versus Dish, which I can rant about.
Neither are good. There's no good in the equation, right? It's just degrees of bad, but there's no good. Good left town a long time ago.
That's true. All I can say is anything's better than DirecTV's on-demand user interface. Trying to find the right season and the right episode to a show you want to watch.
It's horrible. Yeah.
It's impossible. Like, you get lucky. Like, it'll take you 15 minutes after you found the show that's on demand to find the episode that's like current that you can watch.
I binge watch. I didn't watch it ever. And I used to work with someone who told me I looked like Q from Impractical Jokers when he used to have long hair. All right. And my daughter was watching it once. I was flipping through. I was like, my wife was flipping through. I'm like, put that on. Someone at work said I looked like him. And my daughter, who's 8, who's 7 at the time, goes, this show's hysterical. It's the funny show. Right? Like, I've never seen it before, but I was told I look like someone. So then I'm watching Impractical Jokers, and now me and my daughter, it's our thing. Like, when everyone else goes to bed, me and my daughter say and binge watch Impractical Jokers. Like, there's like 10 seasons, so we still haven't caught up yet, but like, that's our thing. Is that weird to watch Impractical Jokers with 8-year-olds?
No, that's I think a show that's one of those that you can watch with the, like, older kids and be an adult and still find enjoyable. It's a what would you call it? Like an improv comedy show? Like, I don't know how you describe it.
Yeah, practical jokes, I guess, is the like you're forced to say something ridiculous to someone or do something ridiculous. If you don't do it, you lose. It's a practical joke contest, right? Is that? I'm not doing a good job of describing the concept of the show.
It's a good show. It's a good show, though, Gary. I approve.
It's known as the funny show in my house. My daughter would put on the funny show.
Do you know there's a practical joke? Watching Triple G with like all of his hair missing. fight Canelo Alvarez on Saturday night.
And now Canelo, Triple G is going to fight again. I mean, I'm going to say two things. Both those fighters are past their prime. I know Canelo's not that old. He's had a lot of fights, though.
I don't know if it was just an off night for him, but
2 in a row.
I mean, one is Bivol, which I can kind of I get. Like Bivol's one of those guys that people have been talking about forever. I was like, oh, he's special. He's special. Now maybe me and you haven't really bought into it, Gary. You maybe more so than me. But people have been saying that. And plus Bivol does have talent. Like regardless of my criticism of him before the Canelo fight, like I always did recognize that he did have talent.
Of course he's got talent, but we're not saying he doesn't have talent. We're saying he kicked the crap out of Canelo. Not Richards or Pascal. He beat the crap out of Canelo. Like that shouldn't be. Like I thought that was just maybe it's a bad stylistic matchup for Canelo. Canelo had a bad day, but then Canelo has another bad day in this next fight. No, I think Canelo's best days are behind him. He's had a lot of fights.
So if Canelo fought like let's say David Benavidez or Jamal Charlo, you would pick them over.
See Benavidez. Canelo. Let's put Benavidez to the side for a minute. The rest of the division I don't think is that good. So even in a declined state, I still think outside of Benavidez, he can clean out that division because I don't think the division is that great. Like he'll beat Andrade. Zach Parker, I think will beat Andrade. He'll beat Zach Parker. Like I don't think the division is that good. So even at maybe 90% of himself or 85% of himself, he's still like Tom Brady. He's still better than everybody else except for maybe Benavidez.
Yeah, Andre beats Andrade. Let's be honest. Like that's the issue with that guy. I think Canelo. I'll put it as like it's a something that we need to look at and be aware of in his next few fights. Is this a past his peak issue where he's now 32 years old, right? He's past his the 30 mark. Like you said, he has over 50 fights, doesn't he?
Got a lot of fights, man. Yeah.
Like hold on, I have the box rec up. Hold on, let me see what it was. Yeah, it's 57, 2-2 heading into this fight. I mean, that's a lot.
When he had that breakthrough performance against Cotto's brother on Mayweather Mosley undercard, the Mayweather Mosley co-main event was Canelo, and that's kind of like where we all woke up to, wow, this guy's special. That was 13 years ago, and he already had like 39 fights at that point, right? Like he's fought a lot. He's fought a lot, and he didn't fight easy guys, and he fought a lot on fairly short turnaround time, so he's constantly cutting weight. I think he's still good enough to beat everyone in that division outside of Benavidez, but his best days are behind him.
It's hard to say, right? Because certain guys, even past their peak, can get like really important fights that like re-cement their legacy, so to speak, right?
Yeah.
Like Pacquiao did it in a way. Roman Gonzalez has done it. There's certain fighters in recent memory when I think about, oh, they're past their peak, but they still come on and win big fights. Canelo Alvarez maybe past his peak, and he obviously took a big loss against Dimitri Bivol and didn't look that great against Gennady Golovkin. Maybe we can get more into that. But I think regardless, like you said, he beats everyone in the division minus maybe David Benavidez. 175, I still think he probably beat anyone in that division except for Beterbiev, Bivol, and maybe Gilberto Ramirez. So
he'll beat Gilberto Ramirez. Ramirez gets hit so much. He gets hit so much. Ramirez is good, but he gets hit too much. Canelo beat him.
Watch like Ramirez beat Bivol. Like that would happen. It's boxing. I'm just saying. But regardless, I mean, Canelo can still get massive wins that re-cement his legacy. Because his legacy is still one of the top 5 Mexican boxers of all time.
For sure. Easy. Yeah. And yeah, he's still going to get wins. He can still beat most fighters, like most elite fighters. It's just he's not as good as he was 2 years ago. That's all I'm saying.
And I don't know what the issue is. I don't know if it's a cardio thing. I don't know if it's just that killer instinct is not there for some reason.
He's made a lot of money.
Yeah, but I mean, even with making a lot of money, I mean, he's been making money since, like you said, 2010, let's say.
Yeah.
Since he's been on big undercards, and he's been undefeated since 2014 in big fights where he's been, scored big wins and big finishes and big knockouts. And this was a guy that was clearly dilapidated in Triple G. Like, Golovkin was bad. I was actually pretty shocked to see him in the state that he was in compared to the fight that I forget what was his last fight before that. But he wasn't balding to that degree. He didn't look like an old man. Like, I mean, honestly, Gary, like that dude's hairline was so retracted, and then he was balding in the back. Like, he looked like he aged 10 years. He looked like he was 50 years old.
Yeah.
Like, if he was Cuban, we'd be making jokes about his age. We'd be calling him like a 75-year-old man. So, like, I'm pretty shocked at that state of Triple G. And we've always said, Gary, that if that fight was to happen, this fight, Canelo Triple G3, it would be only to shut up the Triple G fans and make a payday, right?
Right.
And the way to shut up Triple G fans is to get a knockout. And Canelo at no point really went for a finish. At no point pressed on the gas against clearly a faded Golovkin that was ready to be finished, was ready to be knocked out. I think if you put Dave Benavidez against that Golovkin, Benavidez were knocked out Golovkin, without a doubt.
It's hard to knock out Triple G, but possibly. Triple G's got a cast iron jaw. Like, I mean, it is bulletproof, but maybe. I mean, it's hard to knock out Triple. It's hard to hurt Triple G.
True. You want to talk about the pay-per-view numbers?
Which ones?
Hold on, let me pull them up again. Hold on. Dan Rayfield reported that it was between 550,000 and 575,000 pay-per-view buys, while Eddie Hearn and DAZN reported their own numbers of global pay-per-view buys of 1.06 million pay-per-view buys. Gary, I saw like a tweet from you talking about this, so I'm assuming you have a take about the reporting of these numbers and the numbers themselves.
Yeah, they're cooking the books, right? There's just no way around it, right? The fight didn't do what they expected it to do. The first fight did 1.1. The second fight did 1.3 million buys in the U.S. Okay, so out of 350 million people, whatever, 330, 20, whatever, 1.1 and 1.3 million people bought the fight. The second fight was 1.06 worldwide, internationally. So out of 7.5 or 8 billion people, 1 million people bought it. In the U.S., it was 550 to 575. So it did less than half of what the second fight did and half of what the first fight did. So why, and the Bivol fight did 530,000 pay-per-views. Why did they report all of those in U.S. buys? But this one, now they changed the game and report it in international sales, worldwide sales. Right? They wanted to make it look like something it wasn't, because the number came out and everyone was like, wow, that's bad. But I told you it was going to be bad for a number of reasons. A, the fight's not interesting. B, nobody was calling for the fight. C, it's way past its expiration date. D, the Americans are hurting. And E, you lied about everything. You said the pay-per-view model was dead. Then you jacked up the subscription price, and then you charged us for the pay-per-view. So that's why it was going to fail, right? Like, was just renewing my DAZN subscription, and I'm pissed off about it, right? I'm still going to do it, right? But if you're not me, you might not do it. There's a million other ways to watch the fight on Surge Sports. Why would you buy it? They lied to you about everything, right? It's bordering on what they did is certainly unethical, saying the pay-per-view model was dead and that you would get all of these fights, 2 Canelo fights plus 50 fight weekends a year, whatever they said, for $100 a month, $100 a year. Now it's $150 plus you have to pay $59.99 for the 2 Canelo pay-per-views. That's bordering on bait and switch. Like, you're really, really, really walking a fine line there. Actually, I don't think you are. I think it's bait and switch. You said you were going to get 50 fight weekends a year plus Canelo. They built this thing on 2 people, Canelo and Joshua, and you would get all of their fights for your annual fee. Now they jacked up the fee. And look, they didn't jack it up based on inflation. Inflation is 8%, so it's going to go from 100 to 108, which I could understand. They jacked it up 50%, and then charged you $59.99 to watch the Canelo fights. That's not what I signed up for. Not even close. So you're bordering on baiting and switching people. So obviously they're going to stream the fight because you've lied about everything. I don't feel bad for you, right? Like, I bet you 550,000 people in the U.S. bought it, 5 million streamed it.
I mean, I can say allegedly I know people that streamed it.
It is what it is. Like, when you lie about every single thing, you lie about the price, you jack up the price, and then you charge them for the pay-per-views. You've lied about everything. Eddie Hearn said it could go over $200 a year. Okay. $150 plus $259.99 pay-per-views is $220. So it's more than Eddie Hearn even valued it at, right? Because Eddie Hearn saying for what you get, meaning 2 Canelo fights, Joshua fights, it could go for $200 a year. Well, now they're charging 10% more than that. So everything they've lied about. Eddie Hearn himself says it's not worth what you're paying for. That's the guy who runs kind of the boxing portion, which really is what you get in the U.S. I mean, how many people are watching the cricket? How many people are watching the billiards? Right? If you have the zone in the U.S., you're watching it for boxing. Am I wrong?
I mean, Gary, if you put like, let's say 100 ESPN like viewers, like average ESPN viewers in a room, and ask them if they knew what DAZN was, how many would
That's
know?
a really good question. We live in such a boxing bubble, right? Like we live in a world where everyone knows who Demetrius Andrade is. You step out of this little boxing bubble, go call up your local sports radio talk show and ask me about Demetrius Andrade. They're gonna look at you like you got 12 heads. Like, who? What? Huh? Right? I don't know. Like, I live in such a boxing bubble. How many people do I know? Like, out of 100 casual sports fans, ESPN watchers, First Take watchers would know what DAZN is? I want to say about half. Do you think that's too high?
Way too high.
Yeah, I mean, could be. It might be. But I live in a bubble, bro. I don't know.
I mean, I would say it's like 10 to 20.
You think it's that low?
Yeah.
It could be.
Yeah. I think probably the better one would be like if you just put the name like on a board and ask those 100 people, like, how do you pronounce this still?
That would be. I remember like their first year out when they had the baseball, not the baseball package, but that little baseball show, the Around the Horn show. They used to advertise at ballparks. I remember it wasn't Globe Life. It was still a ballpark at Arlington. Mm-hmm. Had his own Yankee Stadium and City Field, like big markets had the zone. They spent a lot of money on advertising. I don't think it paid off, right? What they had was great for the baseball. Like, you could watch the entire baseball game, get the feel of the whole game, right? Because baseball is not like football or basketball, right? You don't have to sit there and watch it. You can just kind of look at it, and then when something happens, then you can like kind of, tune in. And they would like they had I forget what it was called. Was it called High Heat? No, that's the
no. It was like Change Up. It was like Change Up.
That might have been it. They give you watch a 10 or 15 minute highlight pack, and you get a feel of the whole game. It was good. The only problem is the average baseball fan, and this is according to Chris Rock, so it must be true, is 57 years old. So if that's your average demographic, the average 57-year-old is not tuning in and getting DAZN. He doesn't know what it is, right? He's watching ESPN. So I thought the product was good. It was just you've targeted at the wrong audience, right? Like, baseball fans are old. It could work for football. It could work for basketball. It could definitely work for college sports. It's not working for an old man sport.
The sad part is like Matchroom is run by like old, like posh white British dudes, and like DAZN is run by like old, rich, like Ukrainian and like British dudes. So like their understanding of like U.S. sports is very, very low.
It's like this. I was talking to my friends from New York, right? And all the old people who are Met fans, because the Mets are really good this year, right? Their best player is Francisco Lindor, Puerto Rican guy. He's got blue hair. He dances, right? They
Hey.
love baseball, but they hate all the players, right? Because they don't get it. Like, because they're 60-year-old white guys and they're, Major League Baseball, they're still 20 years old, right? In their 20s. And like, they don't get it. Like, there's such a generation and culture gap. They're like, why is this guy with blue hair dancing? It's like, you know what I'm saying? They love the team, but they hate all the players because they don't relate to the players, right? And I kind of think like that's what the zone is. Like they gave a good product, but it's not relatable to their audience. Like the average baseball fan is not going on to the zone and streaming a game for 15 minutes to get a feel of the game. It's just that's not how people watch baseball. Like I said, college football, it could work. It definitely could. But it's not going to work for baseball. The demographics too old.
It's just, I mean, I told you so. To all the people out there, the zone's going to change everything. It's going to, overtake all the old models. I'm like, it's going to succumb to the U.S. model completely and how it conducts its boxing. Like, it's going to have to survive. There's no other way about it. And two, I knew that it as a model wasn't going to be successful in overtaking ESPN, as like Eddie Hearn and other people were saying. Like, that's a ridiculous statement. Like these like ABC, ESPN is
your competition. For me, from my perspective, I'm still blown away that Netflix is still a thing. Like I thought Netflix would be long gone by now, just because of the price associated with it. Right?
I don't know how they're still functioning as a company with how much debt they're running on. It's pretty, like, I don't like. There's like people like write books about like how Netflix is like still still running as a company because it doesn't make sense. They should be filing for bankruptcy like any minute now.
And their books are cooked too. All technology companies cook their books, like they all do.
It's so easy to because they don't have to report the numbers like traditional networks do because they're not regulated like traditional networks are. So that's like the major difference, right? So like,
what about Elon? He's gonna have to buy Twitter, right? Like he's just trying to get it at a slightly cheaper price. Now he's trying to negotiate and settle out of court. Because if it goes to court, he signed a contract. He's got to buy it, right? Am I wrong? He's gonna have to buy Twitter.
I mean, Gary, is Elon Musk like really the smartest person out there?
He became the richest man in the world, right? Whether or not like he's the smartest person in the world, right? Like he did become the richest man in the world.
I mean, like the Habsburgs in like the Holy Roman Empire were like the richest family in the world, and they were all like inbred.
His parents are millionaires; they're not billionaires, right?
Yeah,
I don't know. Are they billionaires? I don't know. Are they? I don't know. I know they have money. They got from diamond money. I know that, but like,
I mean, that's the thing. They own fucking diamond mines.
If you have $20 million, you're rich, but you don't have you know what I'm saying? Like, the baseball player is rich. The guy who gives him his contract is a different level of rich, right? So, I like which are they the owners? Are they Francisco Lindor or are they Steve Cohen? Like, how rich are they?
They like owned emerald and diamond mines in Zimbabwe and I think South Africa too.
So they have at least hundreds of millions, you would say?
Yeah, at least hundreds of millions.
At least 100. Okay, that's wealthy. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. There's a decent documentary on Elon Musk. It's not like great, in terms of like it really like tackles everything and goes in depth on everything, but it's decent. It covers like all the major stuff. Really nice. I think it's on Hulu about Elon Musk that people should check out. It's not bad. I'll say that. Gary.
Oh, we can go back to boxing if you want. Well, we were talking about technology and cooking the books. Like,
I'll say this. To your point about like the numbers and how DAZN / Eddie Hearn committed basically like malpractice, basically, by marketing their network and their product a certain way, and then it turned out the exact opposite. I agree with all your points. I don't think anything's going to happen to these entities because of that. Just with how like just dirty boxing is. Like, I don't think like that's like there's no one coming to police it. And I think people like don't understand that. Like even like the commissions, like they don't act as like really like the police of boxing and make sure that it runs well or whatever that you think police do. It's I think regardless of that, I think DAZN is one of those things that's just a ticking time clock on when it dies out, because it doesn't offer nearly the amount of content it did on launch. It doesn't have nearly the amount of names that it had in the first year. It's purely surviving on Canelo fights. Because let's be honest, I don't think Anthony Joshua is really trending in the US like he was because of the way he's been taking losses. I think there's been definitely the tension on him in the US has dwindled because he's no longer seen as one of the top guys. Tyson Fury probably is way more searched in the US on Google and stuff like that. I don't have the metrics in front of me, but I bet he is, than Anthony Joshua nowadays. I don't know what DAZN does long term. I don't know what Matchroom does long term. I don't know why Canelo keeps coming to this network, to be honest. I mean, he went with a guy like Caleb Plant and did more pay-per-view numbers than Triple G. Like, how is that? I mean, the simple answer is that Showtime, Fox, PBC, that whole conglomerate promotes better than DAZN and Matchroom in the US because they know the US model. And not only that, they're associated with boxing in the US. When people see those logos and boxing, there's decades and decades of brand recognition there that's been built into US boxing audience, obviously, and then US sporting audience. DAZN doesn't have that. Matchroom doesn't have that. So that's why a fight like Canelo Plant can outsell Canelo Triple G3, which it shouldn't outsell. Right, Gary? Like, that fight shouldn't be a better seller than this one.
I think a big part of the reason is the American economy is in bad shape. People are hurting, bro. I said something like 40% of Americans are worried about paying a utility bill. Keeping the water on, keeping the lights on, right? Now you're asking them for $60 on top of the 150 that they were. Like, it's the economy was in a different shape, a year ago with the Plant fight. Like, it was a different time, and I know it was only
really
a year ago.
I mean, a year ago was still a year after the sort of the COVID recession, right? Where like 40 million people went unemployed. Like that. Like, I don't think it's that far off in terms of the economic situation we have now. I feel like it's pretty in line.
You think it's comparable?
I don't think shit has changed that much. Like, for the average working class person, I don't think things have changed.
I don't think it's changed that much. I just think it's a drain, another year of being tapped out all the time for people.
No, that's definitely true. That you can say that it's a continuation. So let's say like from 2020 to now, you can argue it's been a 2-year recession. Like, things haven't really changed for the working class in a lot of ways. When you see economic growth or in terms of like GDP growth, you usually see that in terms of more of like the higher class in America right now. We see people like Elon Musk, people like Jeff Bezos, exceeding their wealth drastically during this time. If you look at their pre-COVID net worth and then their post-COVID net worth, it's absurd. Like, honestly. I forget the exact number. I want to say it's either $1 or $3 trillion. Was basically stolen or extrapolated from the working class, either in the U.S. or globally. I forget again that metric. And then that number was obviously given to the top like 1%. So I think
it's not even the top 1%. It's the top 0.00. It's a handful of people.
Yeah,
right?
Like, it's the top 0.00 like 25%.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tiny fraction of people.
Yes. Bring back other things, but digressing. I think that you can make that argument that maybe that because we're another year into this recession, that 300,000 pay-per-view buys could drop off in that time due to economic conditions worsening. Absolutely. I think that's a valid argument. I probably would tend to agree that there should be a drop-off in buys. That amount, I don't know.
That's a lot. But the fight's not interesting. Like, the fight really, they didn't market it. Like I said all week, it doesn't even feel like a big fight week like the first two did. So they didn't market it well. The fight was not that interesting. right? Like it's a 40-year-old Golovkin. Like Canelo's gonna fight James Toney next. Like James Toney's kind of old, isn't he? Who? The fight was actually more competitive than I thought it was, and the fight wasn't that good.
No, the fight sucked.
Yeah,
the fight was. I mean, honestly, the whole card was pretty atrocious. The only fighter that I will say that was impressive still was Mark Castro. That guy continues to be impressive.
I was at the Longhorns game. I didn't see, and I was watching it on my phone. I guess I just
Mark Castro got a good knockout in his fight.
I didn't see. I heard Austin Ammo Williams had a little tougher than expected fight with but I thought not that Kieran Conway is a world beater, but I always thought Kieran Conway was pretty good.
Yeah, he's a good fight for a guy that's 11-0.
Yeah,
like think about this, Gary. Like think about like guys that are 11-0 but on the regional scene.
Yeah,
right. Then fighting a guy that's 18-2-1. That's a tough fight. Like they're a main event on a regional card. You know what I mean? Like that's a tough fight. So on a undercard of a pay-per-view, that's still a tough fight.
Do you want to hear a Kieran Conway story?
I mean, I guess. Do you have a Kieran Conway story? Is he from Texas? No, he's from the UK. How do you have a Kieran Conway story?
Because he fought in the Canelo undercard, the Canelo Saunders undercard, right? So I was at the Canelo Saunders Curtis media, and we were up talking to him, and I'm talking to him
over here. Big time Gary over here.
Right. And
Canelo media over here. Wow.
So I'm talking to Kieran Conway. And I was interviewing him, and he asked me, he's like, so you're from Texas? I'm like, yeah, I live 15 minutes away from here. So he points to the Texas Ranger Stadium, which is across the street from Cowboy Stadium. Like they're all like one big in Arlington, like one big lot, right? Mm-hmm. And then there's Six Flags of Texas, right? It's like, what's that? I was like, that's Globe Life Park. That's where the Texas Rangers play. He's like, is that baseball? I was like, yeah. And this is when Texas is like the only state open, right? Texas and Florida. He's like, what's over there? I'm like, it's the Texas Rangers play. It's like baseball. I was like, yeah, baseball. He's like, I want to go. I'm like, they have pretty strict policies in there. Like they're keeping you isolated. I don't think they want you going to a baseball game with 50,000 fans. He's like, no, I'm going to go. Right. So we're walking in. The next day I see him. Right. It's like, did you see me on TV? I was like, no. He's like, I went to the baseball game. I'm like, it's on you, man. That's on you. So I kept isolated all this time. It's like, I'm going to go to a stadium with 50,000 people. I was like, hey, man, it's your fight. It's your paycheck, man. You do what you got to do.
Dude. Hey, do what you got to do, I guess. Let's talk about your boy, Gary. The guy that you said was the future of boxing.
The future of boxing still is.
Allegedly. The guy that you said was going to take over, dominate, knock out Roman Gonzalez, knock out
I didn't say he was going to
knock out a new way. Okay.
I didn't say he was going to knock out a new way.
I mean,
I said,
look, Gary, we don't have the time or the producer to go back to the last show and check the tape, but I implore everyone to go back to the last show and check out the tape. Just saying. I'm pretty sure that's what he said.
Did I say that? I don't think I said it, but it does sound like something I would say. But I don't think I said that. I don't think I think I'm being misquoted here.
Again, we don't have the producer to do that. I'm sorry. But regardless, Bam Rodriguez looking absolutely mediocre against Israel Gonzalez. I don't know what to make of this fight. I know that he trained a lot in San Antonio and not at the Garcia Academy. So I know when Franco or Bam decide to just train in Texas more, it's usually a bad night for them.
Well, Josh usually does the majority of his camp in California. Bam usually starts it, I say we do about half, and then goes over. Bam, boy, San Antonio to the core. Bam is in San Antonio more. Like if you're in San Antonio, Bam's around. Josh is usually out in California. I mean, a preference, like whatever. But I was just saying, Bam is. But he was like in San Antonio like a week or two out before the fight. So I mean, there's a Robert. No, they changed that. There used to be an RGBA San Antonio, which just like they put the name on it. Like had, like Robert Garcia. Okay. But they changed the name of that too, so it's not even called that anymore. It's called something else now. But that's where he trains when he's in San Antonio. But he usually, like for his last 2 fights, he was out there. Like, and when he fought on Mikey Garcia's underground, he was there a lot. Like he was spending most of his camp there. This fight, I'd seen pictures of him, on social media at RGBA, but I saw him here a lot. Like doing local media interviews, doing interviews with my boy 210 Boxing TV. Shout out to you. He was in San Antonio a lot. I don't think I don't know. I haven't got to talk to him. I haven't talked to him since the Rungvisai fight.
Mm-hmm.
My inkling is that he did not take this. I'll be gentle with it and say I don't think he took it as serious as the Rungvisai fight.
I mean, clearly he didn't. I mean, I feel like the first 3 rounds he didn't throw a punch, or at least didn't land a punch. He was definitely off in every way, offensively, defensively. I think he only was able to win rounds just because of like pure determination. Because Israel Gonzalez was really doing a good job of using the ring, using the space that he can create. Launching a lot of combinations, not a lot landing, but he threw a lot in that fight against Bam. It was just a very bad night for Bam Rodriguez. For people like you and me a little bit, I guess, that were saying that, he's gonna beat like Estrada, he could beat Roman Gonzalez, like 118 might be like the true test for him, especially with the new way. Probably have to pump the brakes just a little bit because he's still very young. And young fighters often do stupid things like not training properly. And the next few fights in his career are very important fights. So if he does a thing like training in San Antonio more than RGBA, that's going to be a major issue for him. Because clearly that's an issue for him now. We can see what the fruits of that are. A fight where he looked horrendous. And he barely won. Like, honestly, like the 2 scorecards that are wide, 118 and 109 to 117, 110, those are bad scorecards. The 114, 113, I mean, that's fair. I mean, you can find 7 rounds to give to Bam, but you can easily score this 6-6 or 7-5 the other way. Honestly, Bam will look that bad.
Okay, so there's obviously a divergence in the scorecards. Mm-hmm. Rob hinted that it was closer to the wide ones than the closer ones. You're saying it's closer to the closer ones than the wide ones. Okay, yes. Like, why am I asking? Because I wasn't really watching the fight. Like I said, I was at the Long Punch game, so like I'm getting texts. Like I guess I'm 3 or 4 rounds in, saying that Bam is losing. I'm like, Bam is not losing, right? So then I text these guys and like it's close. I'm like, it's close. So now I'm going back and forth, watching the game. Do that, watching the game and watching the fight on my phone, right? And I got people like over my shoulder watching the fight, right? Because Bam, it's a big deal. An hour from San Antonio, the Long Punch play. And I'm not really watching the fight. I'm definitely not scoring it, right? But I am seeing that this is a competitive fight. So I don't know what the scorecards. I'm not scoring it at all. I'm not even watching 3 minutes of the round. I'm just watching it in glimpses, like in between plays.
Bam was having a hard time cutting off the ring, and therefore a lot of his shots were missing because Israel Gonzalez was getting out of position of Bam's offense quite often. You also have Bam, I think, not really using the jab like he was in past fights. I think that was another massive issue, that he was headhunting a lot with his shots. He would lead with the hook instead of lead with the jab like he would often in the past 2 fights. Cardio didn't seem to be there like it was in the last fights as well. And then he was also just getting hit with a lot of shots. Like, I don't know why the defensive lapse. Maybe just a lack of focus, a lack of cardio, a lack of just being, tight in your game, so to speak. But he was eating shots that he shouldn't be eating, and shots that he wasn't eating in the last 2 fights for him. And it was close. I think I thought Israel Gonzalez won the first like 3 or 4 rounds like clean, to be honest. So after that, it becomes very tough for Bam to start winning rounds. I thought he won. I don't have a scorecard in front of me that that I didn't do, to be honest. But I probably give Bam rounds 7 through 9 easy, and then everything out of that is a toss up. 4 to 9 is a toss up, or 5 to 9, I should say. 5 to 8 is a toss up, and then 10, 11, 12, maybe you get. I probably get Bam the last round, but other than that, it's toss up rounds. Gary,
again, I'm commenting on a fight that I was watching like this. So
you have
I
to
don't
answer
have.
for this, Gary. You have to answer for Bam's mistakes. I'm sorry. I don't make the rules.
I got a convenient excuse for that one, don't I?
Yeah, lazy excuse. Anyway,
I'm watching this. I'm hearing Bam's losing. While Texas came back to win by like 20. Texas is losing to UT San Antonio at home. Not that it really matters, an hour away, but like they almost beat Alabama the week before with their backup quarterback on one leg, and now they're gonna lose to UT San Antonio. It's like if like Bam beat Rungvisai and then lost to Gonzalez. It's like something's not right here. But both guys came back and righted the ship. I guess Bam had a tougher road than Texas did in the second half.
I like that connection. Let's talk about Shakur Stevenson missing weight and losing all of his belts, and now moving up to 135 after this fight. Obviously, I in terms of the prediction for him fighting Robson Canseco, I think he's going to beat Robson easy. Like, this is not a tough fight for him in any regard. I don't know why we're having this fight. I guess just because it's top rank. But 135 is better. I mean, you have a potential Lomachenko fight there that I'm really, really intrigued by, because obviously it's in-house, and that's something that they're going to fast track to. So I'm really excited for what we could see there. Gary?
I think, look, Shakur Stevenson and Bam Rodriguez are the best fighters in the world under 25. Shakur Stevenson still under 25? I think he is, right?
I can check.
They're the best fighters in the world under 25. Shakur Stevenson's going to win the fight. He's going to win it convincingly. I think Canseco is a good fighter, and this fight is going to be competitive to a degree. Even if Canseco doesn't really win any rounds, he's going to land shots. He's going to win moments. He's going to win moments of the fight. I'll say that. But Shakur Stevenson is a class ahead, right? Like
Shakur Stevenson is 25 years old.
He's 25.
Yeah.
Shakur Stevenson, if he truly can't make the weight, he outgrew the division. His body got bigger. He's 25. He's growing into his man strength, his man body. Okay. My gut feeling is that he's like, I'm not going to kill myself because this is my last fight at 130 anyway. Win, lose, or draw, I'm vacating my belt. Win, lose, or draw, I'm not holding on to this belt any longer. If I win, I'm vacating it. If I lose, I lose, right? So I'm just, what's the point of making weight? I'll just lose it on the scale. I'm not saying he did that. It seems like that's what happened, right? Like, yeah. And I don't like that, right? Brandon Figueroa fought Stephen Fulton. We all knew Brandon Figueroa wasn't fighting ever at 122 again, ever after that. He still made the weight, right? Shakur, I feel, could have made the weight. Maybe I'm wrong, and I don't know. But
I mean, did you see the weigh-in photo of them facing off, where you can really see like the profile of his like sunken in eyes
on Shakur?
Yeah, like it was bad.
You think he honestly gave it 100% effort, just couldn't make it anymore?
I mean, I've seen a lot of guys that look in poor shape at weigh-ins.
Yeah,
and he looked like he was in poor shape.
Okay, I could be wrong. That could be.
To where honestly, it might affect his performance tomorrow.
He's fighting at 126 not that long ago. Well, I guess it's 2 years ago, right? He moved up in the bubble, so I guess it was 2 years ago. But he was like a massive 126 guy, and now he's fighting at 135. Well, he'll be going to 135, which is obviously the right move because it's the better division with the bigger fights.
Oh, absolutely. Again, like
he's gonna fight Lomachenko. He's gonna fight Haney. He's gonna fight these guys.
And I cannot wait for those matchups. And I think honestly, he is the only guy, except for maybe Lomachenko as well, that I think that will give Gervonta Davis any trouble in this division.
That is such a good fight. That is such
I
a
know
good
that
fight.
there's been rumors of Tank versus Ryan Garcia in December. I'm not going to talk about that until we find out it's actually happening. But I think Tank knocks out Ryan Garcia. I think Tank knocks out Devin Haney. I think, who else do we talk about? Richard Comey?
He knocks out Richard Comey for sure.
And
Comey
Tank
may
beats
even do well until he gets knocked out, but Comey gets hit too much. You don't want to get hit against Tank Davis. It's not good. It's not a good.
Tank's going to beat everyone except for maybe Lomachenko and Shakur Stevenson.
There's other names in that division, though. Well, he already beat Cruz in a good fight. Isaac Cruz. Zepeda's a good fight. There's good fights in that division. But I do think Tank, for now, Shakur Stevenson may change that landscape. I really don't know who I'd pick in that fight. I do think Tank Davis right now is the best 135 in the world.
Oh, absolutely.
Shakur Stevenson going out division, that may change my calculus. Shakur Stevenson is incredibly gifted and incredibly. Did you see this video of Shakur Stevenson in what do they call it? With the Grand Central Station with the kid?
No, I did not.
So there's this kid. He's shadow boxing. A box goes around his neck. He's obviously going to a boxing gym, right? Shakur Stevenson. He doesn't know Shakur Stevenson behind him. Shakur Stevenson goes up behind him, starts giving him pointers, right? The kid turns around to thank him, and he realizes it's Shakur Stevenson. He jumps on him. First, I thought it was interesting that Shakur Stevenson still takes the New Jersey PATH train. That's interesting, right? But it was a cool thing. You get to meet your hero. It was just a cool little video. You thought Shakur Stevenson, with all the millions he's made, still takes the New Jersey PATH train from New Jersey to New York?
Someone in the chat saying Haney is above both those fighters. No, stop.
Haney has all the belts, so if you want to rank him by that, I mean, that's your argument. He does have all the belts, but do you really think Haney would beat those guys? That's what we're saying. If you want to rank Haney pound for pound ahead of those guys, I'm not really going to argue with you too much. He has all the belts, but Haney's not going to beat Tank Davis.
Dude, Haney beat Kimbosis. So it's not stop.
That's what I'm saying.
Let's stop it right now, okay? It was just a 135, and how the belts got to Haney is just a great example of how boxing is weird and nothing happens the way it should happen.
Who said that? Who put that in the chat? That Haney's ahead of all of them?
I don't know. Some person I don't know. Bon Koi or Kiki.
When you say above them, do you think he's better? He beats them, or you just rank him higher because he has the belts?
He's asking, is that picture Charlo real?
They're all real, yeah. Of all the cool people on that, Charlo, there's both Charlos. There's Roy in the middle. There's my boy Ashton Palikte.
Well, let's be honest. Let's be honest, okay? You have Oscar there that we can see. He's declined, and ooh, that's Oscar.
Oscar's one of the greats, bro. I don't care what he does. It's like Brett Favre. I don't care what he does. Brett Favre maybe go to jail now, actually.
Brett Favre embezzled $5 million. It's not.
I was talking about the pictures he sent to Jen Sturgis. Hey, look, man. He's still a great quarterback. Brett Favre keeps getting himself in trouble.
He's the worst.
But that doesn't change the fact that he was a great quarterback, right? One of the greatest ever. Just because he does ridiculous.
We're not going on Brett Favre tangent. We're not doing that, Gary.
But I was say about De La Hoya. Yes, De La Hoya does ridiculous things post-career in his personal life. He's still one of the greats.
You have Virgil Ortiz, who, I mean, who cares, really?
Virgil.
Virgil.
The city of Grand Prairie, Texas cares. That's who.
What's the population of Grand Prairie, Texas?
40, 50,000, 30. I'll look it up. I'll say 40 is my guess.
40,000 people?
Well, it's a suburb of. It's a DFW suburb. I mean.
But suburbs in Texas are different than suburbs in LA.
This says 193,000. That can't be right.
That's a lot of people. That's 193,000. That's a lot.
That can't be right. There's no way there's 193,000 people in Grand Prairie, Texas.
He's asking, is that a Macaboo picture? I don't think you have.
No, there's no Macaboo. Which one? There's Big Charlo, Roy, Little Charlo, Ashton Palikte, Oscar, and Verge. And then above that, you can't really see, is Maurice Hooker and Pernell Whitaker. And then there's Barrios over there, Kendo Castaneda over there. And then there's all the way over there is me, Bam, and Hector Tanahara.
That's the worst one. Wait, hold on. You got a picture with Bam and Tanahara in the same picture? Or are they separate pictures?
No, it's me,
Dude, you
Bam,
should
and
got
Hector.
separate. Dude, Hector Tanahara automatically decreases the value of that picture.
This is when Hector was the better known prospect. That was before Hector fought on
Gary, he was only a better known prospect because you pushed that dude so hard. No one else knew who Hector Tanahara was.
Hector's my boy.
He's asking, are you rooting for Spence over Crawford?
Yeah, I'm rooting for Spence. I'm picking Spence now, too. If this fight was 2 years ago, I'd probably lean Crawford, but I think Crawford is a little past his peak. I'm taking Spence.
Yeah.
So what happens when you wait 6 years to make a fight?
I hate it. I hate boxing. I hate that. I love it. Dude, no, Gary's not patriotic for the U.S. Okay. Gary is a dirty rebel. Okay. He's a secessionist. That sounds so bad. I'm sorry. That's not what I mean, really, in terms of like the historical context of that word in the U.S., but digressing. Shout out to Texas, right, Gary?
Yeah, that's a Texas flag, by the way, behind my head. And there's one my son made on Texas Independence Day. It's got a blue bonnet on it, too.
Anyways, what else? What else can we talk about, Gary, on that card? Your boy Keyshawn Davis on the card. Henry Vences is going to lose to Henry LeBron.
That's an interesting fight.
Is it?
I mean,
is it really?
I mean,
Henry Vences is like one of the biggest hype jobs.
You don't know who's going to win that fight, I guess, right? I mean, I guess you kind of do. Vences is a good fighter, though. I guess. Not really.
He's coming off 2 losses.
He's got 2 consecutive losses? He hasn't.
2 consecutive losses, Gary. I will say this, though. You know how, like, I told you about, like, when you can sign on as a promoter on BoxRec, you get, their win, like, BoxRec especially, like, win probability chance that they give to fights before the fights happen, right? That promoters can see. I don't know if what?
Yeah, that's right. I forgot he lost to Joan O'Carroll. I remember the Louis Lopez. Wow. Okay.
But LeBron Vences is like a 50-50 fight for BoxRec right now in terms of what they got. I don't know why they have it 50-50.
They don't like Henry LeBron, or they really like
Andy Vences, let's be honest.
Didn't Henry LeBron fight another guy named LeBron in his last fight? It was like LeBron versus LeBron. It's like I've never met a single human being with the last name LeBron ever in my life.
Dude, he did. Jesus Christ.
I remember that. It was the most confusing thing in the world because Henry LeBron really wasn't that much of a household name at that point, and he's fighting another guy named LeBron, and you couldn't really figure out who was who.
Yeah, that's bad. That's bad. Oh, you fought Ricky Dulay.
They were both Puerto Rican fighters, right?
Who?
Luis
LeBron and Henry LeBron?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
I remember that.
I think LeBron's a Puerto Rican name for some reason.
Is it?
Oh, yeah. Henry LeBron. The guy in the chat saying Matt has the OG Ali picture. Yes, I do. I got also the real, like, actual magazine, Lifetime magazine from when that fight came out. I also have the awesome Che picture and a random jack-o'-lantern. Is that jack-o'-lantern?
I can't even see it. A jack-o'-lantern.
You can only see the pumpkin, though.
Yeah.
The pumpkin's just in the corner of the screen when you see it. It's actually a ghost with the pumpkin, but you can't see the ghost, guys. I'm sorry. Digressing, though. What else can we talk about, Gary? We want to talk about the Joe Joyce card. Let me pull that up. I mean, I guess we can talk about that, right? Can we? Is there anything on that we care about?
Yeah, I mean, that is one of the world's most boring fights. I mean, that's going to be like watching paint dry. Hopefully someone gets knocked out. I just can't figure out who it's going to be because neither one of those guys can really punch.
Joe Joyce can punch.
He only jabs. He's gonna knock him out with a jab. He's gonna quit like Dubois. I'll never forgive Dubois for that. He quit because he kept getting jabbed. It's like, okay, pick your hand up first of all. Move your head.
He's gonna beat up Parker for a 12-round decision, for sure. Right? Like, it's definitely gonna happen.
Yeah, I'm picking Joyce to win that fight, even though I do think Parker's pretty good. I'm one that like I flipped on Joe Joyce. He's not bad. He's pretty good.
He's pretty good, but like he's still not the most entertaining guy to watch.
No, he's the least entertaining guy. Besides
Don't
maybe
say
Joseph
that,
Parker.
Gary, don't say that.
At the heavyweight division,
Kubrat Pulev is in this division, Gary. Don't you dare say that to poor Joe Joyce, okay?
Whatever happened to Pulev with the situation where he grabbed the girl in the ring? Nothing. It just.
Do you know what happened to the Joe Joyce like lawsuit thing? Remember when he kissed that girl? No, I don't know what happened to that too. I think he got dropped.
He said that was staged. She said it wasn't. I don't know, man. I don't know.
It's boxing. Everything's reality TV. Like, once you understand in that context, that's all reality TV. That's it.
You got a 250-pound fighter grabbing a girl in the ring. It's like, dude, chill. Like, relax on that.
Amanda Serrano's fighting this weekend. I know that,
Yeah,
that's your girl. You're hyped.
She beat Katie Taylor convincingly.
Dude, that was such a robbery.
And what pissed me off was I was like, oh no, I think she won. No, you don't. You don't actually think that. Get out of here. No, you don't really think she won that fight.
No, I think Rob is just waving the flag there. Let's be honest. Right? Like, that's what it is. Like, Rob knows that Katie Taylor didn't win that fight. Right? He has to know.
I think he knows. He just doesn't. Yeah, he knows. He knows Katie Taylor didn't win that fight.
What else is on this card? God, there's nothing. Gary, any other thoughts on today's show, man, before we head out of here?
You want to talk about Verge?
What was it again that he's petitioning
Verge is pushing for the Stanionis fight. No, okay.
I mean, does that get you excited, Gary?
No, I'm surprised he actually even wants the fight. I get he wants the belt, right? It's tough to get a belt right now, especially with Spence and Crawford probably fighting each other. So he wants something, right? Like, you feel like, okay, I've been sitting here in a position where I'm in line, I'm past due for a title fight, and I'm not getting one, and I want this regular belt. Like, I kind of feel like that's what it is.
I can't support Virgil Ortiz anymore, man. I just can't do it.
Why? He's 19-0 with 19 knockouts.
I can't do it, man. I can't. What's he doing? He's gonna pull a Crawford. I'm calling it right now. He's gonna stagnate his career. Or
Usyk Wilder. What's about Usyk Wilder?
I just want to know what the hell's happened to Tyson Fury.
Tyson Fury is not fighting Usyk. Can we talk about Fury for a minute and then we can wrap things up?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Fury, Wilder, send the contract. I'll sign it and send it back. Joshua, send the contract, sign it. I'll send it back. I want to fight Chisora. I want to fight Chisora for a third time. How about Usyk? Well, I'm retired. Maybe if they offer me $500 million, then maybe I'll fight them. But, I'm retired for now. Send me make your best offer and I'll let you know. Oh, I'll fight Joshua. Fury's not fighting. What is Fury going to outbox Usyk? Fury can't beat Usyk. He knows that. He's not going to fight Usyk unless you got $500 million. Then he'll fight him.
No, dude, don't worry, man. Fury AJ is going to happen now. After AJ just lost to Usyk twice
in a row. Yeah, way to really put your balls on the table there, Fury. You're going to fight Joshua coming off 2 straight losses? Yeah.
Dude, Fury as a human being in his totality is a complete fraud. And I cannot wait till we have like some separation of time from him as a fighter when we can have those conversations honestly as a community, because obviously like he's wrapped himself in this amazing PR narrative when it comes to mental health and drug addiction and all that. He's done a great job, and then surrounding that on top of it with racism, misogyny, and tons of other stuff like homophobia.
I mean, all of those things came a long time ago. You don't think people can change? You don't think he can redeem himself? Not the drug addiction. I know he still battles. I know. I saw him drunk. He got arrested or whatever.
He has explicitly stated that he will not apologize for those comments, and he's shut down interviews time and time again with big outlets that start asking him about those comments and does he apologize? That's where the Terminated came from. Remember when he said terminated, and like that became a soundbite we used on the show for like 6 months?
Yeah.
That I think was from an like BBC or like Sky Sports or like one of those like bigger like like their actual network asking him about those comments, and he shut it down. So it is what it is. I mean, Usyk's the best heavyweight in the world right now. We're just giving him that. Okay. Fuck Tyson Fury.
I remember when you were when you were on the other show.
Yeah.
I said that Usyk would be the best heavyweight in the world. Not you so much, but the other guy left, and this is when Usyk was still a cruiserweight, laughed me off and said there's no way Usyk could even last rounds with Deontay Wilder. I haven't listened on the other show that you were on.
I mean, I'll say this. I think Wilder presents the most intriguing style matchup for Usyk. Is it a winnable fight for Usyk? Absolutely. I mean, Wilder's not the best fighter when it comes to footwork, and Usyk's arguably the best heavyweight fighter when it comes to footwork. So automatically he's going to create angles that Wilder is going to have trouble with. He automatically is going to get into spots where he can capitalize on shots and capitalize on his defense and movement even more that Wilder is going to have issues with. Some ways that like Tyson Fury did it, because they both are very similar fighters in that way that they are movement-based fighters.
Yeah,
they rely on their movement, whether it be footwork, whether it be upper body movement, whatever it is. They rely on movement to produce offense and then to fall back on defense. Wilder has always had trouble with his footwork. Always had trouble. So it's a winnable fight. But in terms of the power, in terms of the size difference, in terms of the overall accuracy and speed of Deontay Wilder with that right hand and a decent left hook behind it as well, I think he does present some issues for Usyk that Anthony Joshua couldn't do, because Anthony Joshua doesn't have that lightning speed, fast twitch right hand.
No, I agree. Of those top heavyweights, I think Wilder offers them the most difficulty because he has the best chance of knocking them out. But I still would pick Usyk to beat all of them. I'm not going to pick Wilder to beat Usyk.
I can see why. I mean, Usyk should be the betting favorite against all these guys right now, except for maybe Tyson Fury. Like maybe that one, he might be the underdog, and technically
he'll be a betting underdog. But I mean, boxing insiders will be pretty split. But like, yeah, the odds, because Fury is people love Fury, right? People don't really care about Usyk, so Fury will be the betting favorite. But I think if you ask boxing insiders, you'll get a pretty good split of who would win that fight.
Yeah. Gary, any other thoughts?
I think that's it, right?
Okay, Gary. Where should people find you and your channel?
Find me all forms of social media, 3D Boxing blog. Follow me. Subscribe to my channel, Texas Boxing Scene on YouTube. All proceeds go to autism research and recovery. That's Texas Boxing Scene. It is September 22nd, 2022. And Texas is still not a country. Let's make Texas a country again. From Texas to the world, thank you, and God bless.
Remember, ladies and gentlemen, hit the like button, share the show, all that fun stuff. Like Gary said, go subscribe to his channel, Texas Boxing Scene. Gary is always on the ground, hustling, man. Like, I remember the days when I would go to events like you do, Gary, and they were fun times, honestly. Like going to events and just doing the media round and stuff like that. It was a really good time. And plus, you're in a spot where Texas is getting massive fights. you can afford to go to like Vegas for like a big Canelo fight if you get credentialed for that. So that's nice if if you have to do that. It's good.
They want you there. I mean, look, they want you there all week for a Canelo fight. Like, you got to get there Tuesday for a Saturday fight, which really can't leave till Sunday, right?
Yeah.
That's a lot of money to cover a fight. I got to fly there. I got to get a hotel for now for 6 nights.
You can find decent rates in Vegas.
Again, yes, you can. If you want to fly Spirit, yes, you can, right?
Whoa. I don't like the shade on Spirit Airlines. Spirit
will not sponsor the show. I promise you that. It doesn't matter how big we get. Spirit will not sponsor.
Dude, Spirit has saved me and our promotion time and time again, man. Spirit Airlines is the best, man.
Yeah, if you're flying from San Francisco to LA or Vegas to LA, okay. If you're flying from Texas to LA, oh man, nah.
No, you're on a local show in LA and you live in San Francisco or Vegas, you're driving. Sorry, you get gas money.
All right, so is there any distance that you have to give them airfare, or is it like if they're coming in from New York or they're coming in from Montreal, Canada? Like, do you have to give them airfare?
It depends what side of the fight they're on.
Okay.
I'll say that. And you usually, I mean, if you're on one side of the car of the fight, yes, yeah, and usually you get a +1 for a coach,
yeah,
as well. But in the range of like when we start, like going like, okay, now we have to like look into flights instead of driving. If you're in California, automatically you're gonna be driving. Like even if you're in Sacramento, like you're gonna be driving. Vegas, Phoenix, like that sort of ring, so to speak, you're probably driving.
How far is a drive from Phoenix to LA? It's got to be 6 hours at least, right?
6 hours. 6 hours, yeah. For example, like Sulem Urbina, who was on our card last time.
She's awesome, by the way. She's awesome. She was on your card?
Yes.
She's from Phoenix.
You can watch it on YouTube, Elite Boxing Promotions. I did the commentary as well, Gary. You didn't watch it? I
did. I watched pieces of it, parts of it. I watched the whole telecast of it. Sorry.
So Sulem was the main event.
She's awesome. I met her. She fought in LA when I was in at the when Tanahara got beat down by Zepeda. She fought on that card.
Yes.
And she did Suns. That was when the Suns were in the finals. And she did. Did you ever see the YouTube video of the Suns fan that goes Suns in 4? He beats the hell out of the Nuggets fan. They go Suns in 4. Suns in 4. You remember that?
No.
Okay. She did Suns in 4 with me. So never mind. It's not important.
I'm sorry, Gary.
Go search YouTube. Suns in 4, and you'll laugh.
But yeah, like Sulem Urbina, she drove from Phoenix. She lives in Phoenix.
Is she still training with Diaz, Joel Diaz?
No, she didn't train Joel Diaz.
She used to.
No.
Okay.
No, I think that was just one camp.
Okay.
But anyways, yes, that's usually what it is. And you have medicals that you have to pay for. It's a lot. It's a lot of pay.
Yeah, you guys have in-depth medicals. You guys have in-depth medicals.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's like if you go, because like in LA, there's like 2 doctors that the commissioner work with that you can kind of just go to and they do everything. One's better than the other. Dr. Gluckman, shout out Dr. Gluckman, free advertisement for you. Like he needs.
There's a ringside physician in the Rio Grande Valley. She works all the fights. I don't know what her name is, but I'll say she's everyone's favorite doctor. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah. Dude, does everything there. It's amazing. Sometimes I'll drive a fighter to medicals, and that's an all day thing. That sucks. Usually I just try to drop them off. That's better. Anyways, Gary, any other thoughts? You good?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Remember, at all times, fuck the police, free Palestine, all that good stuff, as Frank says in the chat, on Twitch, and join an organization like in your community. Like, I'll just
so when you say FTP, is that F the police or F the population? Because
No,
I've heard both. F the population is a. You'll see bandware all their stuff.
No, that's definitely F the police. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Absolutely.
I generally like the population. You know, there's good and bad, of course, but I generally like the population. Police, not so much.
I'm a communist. I love society. I love people. I love community. We don't need a peanut gallery, please. Thank you. Anyways, have a good night. See ya.